report, President William Ruto emphasized that the agreement is not a devolution of national functions, but a partnership designed to support county initiatives in areas with nationwide impact. Now, the partnership covers multiple sectors, including water and environmental sanitation, roads, bridges and drainage systems, housing and urban infrastructure, street lighting, waste management, among others.
The Nairobi City County Government retains its legal mandate. What is being enhanced is structured national government support, where capital city performance affect the entire republic. This cooperation agreement focuses on 4 key work streams: water and sewerage, roads, bridges and drainage, housing and related infrastructure development, including lighting, as well as solid waste management and Nairobi rivers regeneration. On street lighting, Nairobi has about 70,000 lighting points, but only 21,000, about 30%, are fully operational today. A city of Nairobi's stature must be fully lit, fully safe, and fully functional. To address this, we are committing 3.7 billion towards street lighting modernization and expansion. The Constitution establishes 2 levels of government distinct in mandate, yet interdependent in purpose. It recognizes that as our capital city grows, responsibilities expand, and national priorities evolve, the institution of government must work in structured partnerships within the law, in coordination and in the national interest, to guarantee effective governance and reliable service delivery.
Right, at the same time, Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja has praised the newly launched collaboration between the national government and the city county, saying it will improve infrastructure, security and public services for residents. Highlighting key focus areas, Governor Sakaja said that the agreement covers roads and transport, markets, housing, as well as safety and public order. He noted that the partnership will help ensure Nairobi is fully prepared ahead of the next year's Cup of Nations. Now, the agreement establishes a dual-level management system. A coordination committee under the Cabinet Secretary will set policies, while an implementation committee under the Governor will oversee daily projects execution. Governor Sakaja emphasized that the initiative presents genuine intergovernmental cooperation, not a devolution of national functions, with the goal of transforming Nairobi into a modern, safe and fully functional city.
This is not a transfer of functions, as happened during the NMS time, which was a misadventure that left this city with a 16 billion shillings pending bills whole, and which did not augur well with the true spirit of devolution. It is not a transfer, but a collaboration, which is encouraged and which holds true regard to the mandate given to both of us by the people of Kenya and the citizens of Nairobi, and to the constitution that we swore to abide by. With a population of close to 7 million residents, and with the city growing year on year, the equitable share from the division of revenue that provides resources to all the counties, as well as our own source revenue, can never be enough for the demanding needs of a capital city of the stature that we aspire to be. We thank you for your support in this journey, Your Excellency. We're committing to make Nairobi work, because lazima I work. Singapore, here we come. Next year, Nairobi will be hosting the Africa Cup of Nations, a historic opportunity. This agreement will help us to be able to provide additional infrastructure necessary for a successful tournament. We're on the journey to Singapore, and Nairobi will not be left behind. This is the capital of Singapore. Excellency.
All right, moving on, the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, that is KAWU, has called off a strike that began on Monday, which had disrupted operations at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The industrial action was suspended following consultations with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, that is KCAA, and the Ministry of Transport. KAWU Secretary General Moses Ndiema confirmed that the discussions led to an agreed return to work formula. Despite the resolution, JKIA continued to experience flight disruption on Tuesday morning due to the backlog from the strike. Airlines including Jumbo Jet and Kenya Airways urged passengers to check flight schedules before heading to the airport. The Kenya Airlines Airline Pilots Association expressed concern over safety risks, citing that flight delays, diversions, and cancellations caused by the strike have significantly disrupted aviation operations and inconvenienced both passengers and industry stakeholders.
We are happy that we've had very successful consultations and engagement, bringing together both KCAA management and KAA management. And in effect, Kenya Aviation Workers Union would like to call off the strike action on terms that have been agreed in the return to work formula. We are satisfied with the guidance and the intervention of the government in this matter.
The ministry takes note of the disruption occasioned by the industrial action and apologizes for the inconveniences caused to travelers and operators. The Ministry of Roads and Transport held a conciliatory meeting between the union, the State Department of Labor, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and a return to work formula has been formally agreed upon. The ministry wishes to inform all travelers and air operators that it has been agreed that the airport operations be resumed to normalcy immediately.
Now, the elections observers under the Uchaguzi platform has raised serious concerns over escalating political violence and the growing use of hired gangs during political rallies, warning that the trend threatens the credibility of Kenya's next general election. Now, the group led by Center for the Multi-Party Democracy and Mzalendo Trust made the remarks during a stakeholders forum on 2027 elections preparedness held with the National Assembly Committee on Constitutional Implementation and Oversight. Now, the civil society organizations said that the rising cases of violence and goonism at political rallies were undermining democratic space and could discourage citizens from participating freely in political activities. They also warned against early campaigning by political actors, saying it violates the law and diverts attention from national development priorities. And according to the observers, prolonged campaign periods disrupt governance and deny citizens the benefit of economic and social development.
Just summary, we need the campaign financing law to be put in place and the attendant regulations. Otherwise, many young people and women will not be able to participate in elective politics because of the high cost of campaigns. So I think we have agreed we will need to put together election financing law that can bring sanity to how we conduct our politics. Secondly, we agreed that we should have a proper audit of the voter register because some work was done by ELOG and KPMG and there were some gaps that were identified. We think we need to have a very thorough audit so that we have a clean voter register to avoid any disagreements in the future.
Now, the Independent Electoral and Monitoring Commission, that is the IEBC, has raised concerns over the low number of Kenyans registering as voters, noting that the many citizens, particularly young people, have yet to engage with the ongoing registration exercise. Speaking at a public forum on elections and community safety in Murang'a County, IEBC Chief Saum Chirchir emphasized that the Commission has put in place comprehensive plans to ensure preparedness for the upcoming general elections. Now, Chirchir urged citizens to participate in the registration process, highlighting the importance of a fully engaged electorate and for strengthening democracy and ensuring credible, inclusive elections. Now, the IEBC continues to deploy offices across the country to facilitate voter registration and reach unprecedented populations.
To my young people, namuuliza tusiitikie kutumiwa. We are not cloud fillers. We are not campaign tools. Sisi we are decision makers. Sisi we are vision bearers. Na wakati ni huu. Muda sio mwingine, muda ni huu. Tuitikie kutokelezea, tuambie wenzetu wachukue kura. Sisi wenyewe tuchukue kura ili tuweze kuchagua viongozi ambao wanaweza endelesha nchi yetu.
We still have a challenge with youth registration where there's a minimum number of youths who have managed to register as voters. And that means that even if we go into voting today, what it would mean for them is that we would still vote for the leaders that we think are good for us, and probably they're not good for them. So we feel we need to have more youths register as voters.
Those who are able to come in and register, we are encouraging them to come and register. Those who have IDs should come in and register. We understand that there are so many IDs at the registrar of persons that have not been collected. We encourage our young people to go and pick their IDs and come and register with us.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that is the EACC, has signed a landmark agreement with the Institute of Human Resource Management aimed at enhancing ethics, accountability and professionalism in the human resource sector. Now, the collaboration seeks to build the capacity of HR professionals to actively support anti-corruption initiatives and ensure principles of integrity are upheld across both public and private sectors. And the EACC officials noted a worrying trend where the HR profession has been misused, including the hiring of unqualified personnel, use of forged certificates, and the presence of what they termed as ghost workers in public service. Now, such practices not only waste public resources but also deny deserving Kenyans access to employment opportunities. Now, through this partnership, EACC and IHRM will work closely to reinforce ethical standards, prevent corrupt practices, and safeguard national development by ensuring that the HR functions are carried out transparently and responsibly.
At EACC, we have noticed a very worrying trend where the HR profession is really being abused by some of the professionals, whether deliberately or unintentionally. We have seen situations where within both the public and private sector, there are individuals who come into the workforce through illegitimate means. Fake certificates is something that has now become like a scourge in our country. A number of them have already been forwarded for prosecution. Some have been taken to court. Some cases have been concluded. I do not have the exact numbers that right now.
On behalf of the Council of the Institute of Human Resource, we will be able to ensure that the initiative that we have started today is actualized.
We have come up with a robust curriculum on HR ethics in human resource management, which is going to cover all the modules that HR professionals put through the employees in an institution.
Now, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi on Tuesday hosted the Luo Council of Elders at the National Treasury in a bid to find a way forward amid growing divisions within the Orange Democratic Movement, that is ODM. Now, the elders used the meeting to condemn the deepening rift in the party and called for dialogue, warning that continued infight could weaken ODM's political influence. The divisions have pitted a faction led by Oburu Odinga against a group of younger leaders popularly known as the Young Turks, led by Edwin Sifuna. Now, speaking after the meeting, Mbadi said that the unity of ODM was critical not only for the party but also for its supporters, adding that dialogue remained the best path to resolving internal differences. Now, the Luo Council of Elders urged both sides to embrace talks and compromise, saying that a united ODM will be better placed to serve its members and play its role effectively in national politics.
And I will tell you that the things that you are seeing happening today did not start yesterday. They started when Raila was alive, although they were muted. This talk of not supporting President William Ruto by SG of the party happened even when Raila was alive. Only that it was muted because Raila had a way of people actually, I don't know whether to say respected or feared him at the same time. But what we are telling them is, can you come and tell us why you strongly feel that you want to go the other side? Because in Kenya there are just two political groupings. Let's not lie to ourselves. So if you don't want to work with Ruto, who do you want to work with?
Efforts to keep ODM united, intact, and have impact in the political scene. Agenda number 2, how we, the Luo elders, can mobilize huge support to the broad-based government, especially during the 2027 elections.
Now, Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro has strongly criticized the use of tear gas against Kenyans attending public gatherings, warning that intimidation has no place in a democratic society. Speaking to the media, Nyoro said that the Constitution guarantees citizens the right to assemble and express themselves freely, arguing that no government should seek to rule through fear or coercion. Now, he cautioned leaders to remember that power is held in trust on behalf of the people, not as a tool to suppress them. Turning to economic issues, Nyoro raised concerns of the proposed sale of Safaricom shares, accusing the government of misleading the public by claiming the shares were being sold at market value while ignoring off-market transactions that often attract much higher valuations. Now, he questioned why the government would dispose of shares below their true worth and called for greater transparency and accountability in the process.
Kenyans raised this issue again last year. The response we got from those in government, the National Treasury and their bosses, is that they are basing the sale of Safaricom shares in terms of market price. I don't know whether they actually knew what market price is, because by the time they were talking about market price, the sale of Safaricom share at 34 shillings, other transactions were happening off the market, just like Safaricom. Those kind of transactions are called off-the-market transactions. One is NCBA. Before the announcement of the transaction in NCBA, the price was trading at below 70 shillings. That is the last quarter of last year. But the transaction price of NCBA to Netbank was over 102 shillings per share. And therefore, these things Kenyans know them. So I would request those in government to kindly shelve off those stale narratives to Kenyans. At the same time, we had EBN shares being traded by Diageo, their largest shareholder, a 65% owner of the company, selling to Asahi of Japan. At that time, the price of EBN was around 244 shillings. But the transaction price of the market was 590 Kenya shillings. And you're not talking about history. We are talking about a transaction or transactions, the NCBA one and the EABL one. We are talking about transactions that are currently happening. And therefore, it was, number one, very incompetent for anyone to come and just dump to Kenyans that they are selling our shares at what they called market price, and especially when the market has been grossly bearish. But now this is the point. You sold a narrative to Kenyans, a self-interested narrative, that the Safaricom share price at 34 shillings was being traded at an unimaginary premium. As late as last Friday, the share of Safaricom in the Nairobi Securities Exchange actually crossed the 34 shillings mark. So we are calling upon those people in government who are auctioning our assets for a song.
A coalition of Kenyan civil society organizations under the Kenya Devolution Coalition Working Group has strongly condemned what it calls systematic efforts to weaken devolution, accusing governors of ignoring the constitutional audits and concealing long-term corruption within accountability structures. Now, the group stressed that the Senate has a constitutional mandate to oversee county revenue management and expressed deep concern over governors' decisions to abstain from meetings of the County Public Accounts Committee. Now, the KDCWG also criticized the 2026 budget policy statement for failing to allocate sufficient resources to counties, describing the move as deliberate attempt to undermine devolved governance. Take a look.
Resolution by governors to suspend appearances before the Senate County Public Accounts Committee, CPAC, and threats by the Senate to withhold resources from non-compliant counties. Such actions hold the ordinary citizen, mwananchi, hostage to intergovernmental disputes.
We see devolution being starved of resources they need to deliver services. County governments are underallocated resources. A case in point is the budget policy statement before Parliament, which has allocated only 420 billion to counties in the financial year 2026-2027, which is far below.
Right, following a week-long security operation in Isiolo County, authorities have begun to report significant results, including the surrender of 16 illegal firearms. The operation aimed at curbing banditry and illegal arms circulation in the region also led to the recovery and return of 655 goats and sheep. This brings the total number of livestock recovered since the operation's inception to 2,389. All right, now let's take a look on what's happening in the economic front. And the Kenyan government has stepped up efforts to make the tourism industry more resilient by diversifying its offerings beyond traditional wildlife safaris as the sector continues to drive inclusive economic growth and global connectivity. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the 4th Global Tourism Resilience Day Conference and Expo, Prime Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi said that Kenya is positioning its tourism sector as to withstand global shocks such as pandemics, climate change, geopolitical tensions, and economic uncertainty. Mudavadi noted that under the leadership of President William Ruto, the government has adopted a diversification strategy aimed at reducing over-resilience on wildlife tourism and expanding into emerging segments, including cultural tourism, ecotourism, meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, sports tourism, gastronomy, and digital tourism experiences.
The COVID-19 pandemic reminded us that resilience is a critical imperative in tourism. As we live here, let us join hands to build systems that can withstand disruption, adapt swiftly, and recover sustainably. Under the leadership of His Excellency President William Ruto, we have embraced tourism resilience as a national priority. Currently, we are investing in diversified tourism products, expanding beyond traditional wildlife safaris to include cultural tourism, ecotourism, MICE tourism, sports tourism, gastronomy tourism, and digital innovation in travel services. Additionally, we are committed to strengthening public-private partnerships, enhancing sustainability standards to protect our natural heritage, from the iconic savannas of the Masai Mara to our pristine coastline along the Indian Ocean. 3 key commitments come to mind. 1, the need to mainstream resilience into every tourism policy and investment decision. 2, the imperative of accelerating climate action within the tourism sector. And 3, to strengthen global partnerships that will enable shared learning and coordinated responses to crisis. For Kenya, we are ready and committed to continue working with all partners of tourism, resilience organizations, governments, academia, and the private sector to advance a tourism sector that is sustainable, inclusive, and future-ready. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of the Ministry of Tourism led by Rebecca Miano, giving it a solid profile. The figures, as I was telling her, are looking good. In 2023, tourism earned us about 268 billion Kenya shillings. By end of 2024, the figures that have come through indicate that it rose to about 452 billion Kenya shillings. That is a rise of about 65 to 68% in terms of revenues.
All right, that's what's up in the world of business. Now let's take a look in what's happening in the world of sports. All right, now let's get sporty. And Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya has assured traders operating around Thika Stadium that they will not be affected by the ongoing renovation of the facility. Mvurya gave the assurance while officially launching the stadium's upgrade, which will increase its capacity to 10,000 spectators and bring it up to modern sporting standards. He said that the project is designed to boost local sports while protecting the livelihoods of business owners who operate around the venue. Now, the Sports CS was accompanied by Defense Cabinet Secretary, that is Soipan Tuya, as well as Principal Secretaries Elijah Mwangi and Patrick Mariru, underlining the government's commitment to the project.
Hakuna pesa ya umma itapotea, hakuna ubomoaji utafanywa. Yale mambo yote ya kiutaalamu yamezingatia kwamba hakuna ubomoaji. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wameeneza propaganda na uvumi na fitina, hiyo maneno ya ubomoaji hakuna. Tutahakikisha biashara zinaendelea na kila kitu inaendelea kama kawaida. Tuendelee tusiendelee? Hapa Thika mmepatiwa nafasi ya kwanza kuwa na stadium ya kisasa ambayo itakuwa na mashabiki 10,000 kwa gharama ya milioni 850. Na hiyo ndiyo maana ya rais wetu kututuma hapa Thika ili sasa tuanzishe hii kiwanja ambayo itakamilika kabla mwisho wa mwaka huu.
Viongozi wa Kiambu tunashikania mradi huu na national government. Na ningependa kusema ya kwamba kazi ya wanajeshi ya KDF ni kusupport the Ministry of Sports. Kazi ya KDF ni technical, tuna manage, lakini kazi inaenda kwa watu wa Kiambu County.
Right, moving on, the 2026 Magical Kenya Open has received a major 10 million Kenya shillings boost from leading telecom company Safaricom, supporting the event set to run from Thursday 19th to Sunday 22nd February at Current Country Club. Now, the sponsorship includes 9 million Kenya shillings in kind support as the official technology and connectivity partner, providing high speed and scalable connectivity throughout the tournament. Now, this will feature a state-of-the-art media center enabling seamless global broadcasting, real-time scoring, and efficient tournament operations. An additional 1 million Kenya shillings in cash has been dedicated to the Beat the Pro Challenge, offering junior golfers the chance to compete alongside professionals. Now, the 2026 edition of the Magical Kenya Open has attracted 144 players from across the globe, including 15 Kenyans and 10 professionals and 5 amateurs, competing for a total purse of $2.7 million. Notable international contenders include South Africa's Jakes, defending his 2025 title alongside past champions Darius Van Driel, George Campillo, and Wu Ashun. Among Kenyan professionals competing are Safaricom-sponsored golfers Samuel Chege and Mutai Kibigu, joined by Greg Snow, David Wahu, Joroge Kibigu, and Dismas Indiza, Daniel Nduva, Edwin Mundani, CJ Wangai, and Justus Madoya. These players qualified through the PGK Equator Tour, which concluded in January at Royal Nairobi Golf Club. This year's tournament also features elite amateurs and juniors, including Michael Karanga. Lejrima John, Jay Sadhu, Shashwat Harish, and Mainid Manji, among others.
Kenya Open is hugely a TV event, and that's what I think drives even most of our sponsors, because we broadcast this event in probably more than 600 million homes globally. So that's a big deal for this country from a tourism and trade and culture and aspect. And so to do that and to bring out the magic from Magical Kenya Open, that magic requires a lot of work. So this event has very many moving parts and many people doing many different things at the same time within even little and very tight time frames. So how do you connect all those dots? Of course, communication, connectivity. So without Safaricom, that would be difficult. You don't want to have an issue somewhere that a decision needs to be made like yesterday, but that can't be done because I couldn't reach my counterpart. But now with the whole place wired up, Wi-Fi, it makes it very easy for things to move quickly because communication is key for that to happen. So without Safaricom, that would have been much harder. So to me, Safaricom is a catalyst.
So today we're very excited to be here at the Karen Golf and Country Club to reinforce a long-standing partnership with Kenya Open. Safaricom has been sponsoring this very iconic event from 2009, and we're very proud to continue that tradition today. Today we announced a sponsorship of 10 million shillings. 9 million is in kind. We will be the technology partner through this tournament, just making sure that all the footage can be transmitted seamlessly, and all customers who are streaming, if they're not able to come here physically, that everything is quite good. And also for the audiences that will be here, because we'll have a big crowd, we've made sure that we've added access to more sites here using a technology we call Cell on Wheels, so that our customers can be able to enjoy a great network experience. The 1 million is to actually support the juniors. We are passionate about ensuring that we build the golf community from the youth. So working together with the Junior Golf Foundation, we will be having a tournament called Beat the Pro. It will be happening.
All right, at that note, to wrap up our program here on The Insight. But as promised earlier, we're going to have a discussion here on The Insight. I'm going to leave you with that particular episode of, the future of the ballot, the blockchain technology. Have you actually heard about blockchain technology, right? Assisting us with that particular conversation is Ambassador Dr. Senior Pastor and Bishop John C.W., who is going to, share his insights about, the future of the ballot and the technology that we ought to use here as a country. Can technology actually save our votes, or is democracy being hacked? That's what's coming up after this short commercial break. My name is Martin Macharia. I was joined by Laura Omondi on the Sign Language Interpretation Desk. Do yourself a lovely night. Enjoy the rest of your viewing, and as always, let's do this again when God says we do.